Also want to let you know that this morning at Lexington 2, that is the school district in West Columbia where the bus from Charlotte was involved in that fatal crash yesterday on South 77 near mile marker 55 in Chester County. It is open to families, parents, students who need it. There will be some resources there from 9 until noon today, and then spring break starts next week. Students returning back to Pine Ridge Middle on the 28th. And you heard there from the president of FSU that they will have resources available as well for those who need it. We have our own resource here this morning right now from Novant Clinical social worker Jaren Doby. Thank you for joining us this morning. Dealing with mental health. This is such a huge topic, but how timely that we have you in here this morning, because I want to talk about the importance. It was like everything happened and resources are going to be available on campus. Mm-hmm. How has mental health become a different conversation when it comes, and a priority, I should say, when it comes to traumatic events like this?
Gotcha. It's very important, and the great thing about it is that mental health is always a priority, and especially in situations like this, it is more important than ever to make sure that both that have directly experienced these things, or directly and indirectly, right, are able to make sure that they are seeking and getting support. It is very much so vital for the improvement, of course, overall of their mental health.
You know, it's one thing to experience it, be directly involved or right there at the scene and watch it, like some of the kids that might be on that bus. It's another to just in the peripheral to be a witness to it. And I'm talking about first responders who had to, you're seeing young kids there, as much as the work that they do is dealing with innocent victims, but just young lives like that. So first responders, as well as media folks. We were on this as soon as it happened yesterday, and we might be media people, but we do have compassion, and we feel for our community and the things that happen to people that we may not know, but we know that it's tragedy. So that witnessing trauma, hidden scars or wounds, if you will,
yes.
What is that effect?
I mean, it affects us in so many different ways, and you hit the nail right on the head. We cannot forget that our media, our EMTs, our police officers, our families and friends, we're all human, and trauma is one of those things that can that can impact us again, both directly and indirectly. It doesn't matter if it's something that directly happened to you. If you were there, if you're covering it, if you're talking about it, if you've learned about it, this is something that can affect us all, and we have to make sure that we're keeping a pulse on ourselves. And do a lot of work with the media, and every time before I leave, I always ask them, hey, make sure that you take care of yourselves, right? Or are you taking care of yourself, rather, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's important work that you all are doing, learning about all of these things, right, and covering it all, taking it home with you. You have to make sure that you are taking care of yourselves also. Mm-hmm. So my heart goes out to everyone involved, right?
Yeah,
whether
right.
you are the media, whether you are someone that directly went onto the scene, or whether you just learned about this or watching this live. It's important to make sure that you are taking care of yourself.
We're looking at some of the footage there. This is on the campus of FSU, and young adults here being involved. We did learn one anecdote that someone experienced the shooting at Parkland when they were in high school, and then now we're looking at another shooting, just to witness it and saying that I can't believe I have to see two of these in my lifetime. Right.
Yeah. That right there is, they say that, lightning can't strike twice in the same place. And when things like this happen, it is so unfortunate. For folks that have experienced multiple occasions or multiple incidents of trauma, it is imperative, and I want to stress how imperative it is to make sure that you are most certainly seeking professional help. Because, of course, how difficult it can be to be able to witness death or learn about that, but for it to happen twice in your lifetime in such a tragic, well-covered situation, right, where you have to constantly relive that, right, by seeing it, hearing about it. it is most important to make sure that you are seeking professionals' help, like myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then younger folks, it's a different way to approach kids
Yes.
in middle school with this bus accident. What are resource officers or counselors on campus telling families this morning?
So, of course, they're just making sure that they're making themselves present to the families and the students that, hey, we are here as a support. That's one of the strongest things they can do at this time, to be able to let them know, hey, we are here to help, we are here to listen, we are here to be able to assist them. Because there are some folks, there are students there, right, that have large families, right, or multiple family members and friends, but there are some that may not have as many as others. So it's important to know that there is someone, a resource, someone at the school that's available to be able to assist them during such a difficult time.
The relationship between physical health and mental health, they are really separate. And so maybe these kids are going to recover from their injuries, whatever, to varying degrees, or students that might have gotten a peripheral wound or shards of glass when that happened. But the mental toll it takes, it seems it's longer term.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and I'm a firm believer of in my business that so goes the mind and so goes the body and vice versa, right? Our mental health issues can affect our physical health issues and vice versa also. So of course they will be able to recover, right, from those physical injuries that it is that they were able to sustain. But you never forget something, right? That's happened to you. You can move on from it, but you never forget. And that's what's important to be able to do by being able to utilize your supports, creating routine for yourself, but most importantly, making sure that you are getting professional help if you are unable to cope with it in a healthy manner on your own.
How do you approach resilience?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know it's one step at a time.
Yes.
And it's a big question, but how does that work? What does that look like on day one?
It's more important than just one step at a time. You address resilience 1 second at a time, one moment at a time, because that is different for everyone. How one person recovers or moves on from a situation should not be how it is that you model, how it is that you move on, right? Because we are all unique and we are all very much so different. So in relation to resilience, we have to remember, be kind to yourself, but also be patient with yourself when it comes to recovery.
Yeah. We are coming up on the officer ambush, a year since that happened in East Charlotte. 4 officers killed, a number of others injured, and one of them we spoke to. He's playing in an event tomorrow at Bojangles Coliseum. Salute to heroes, Michael Giglio. He was one of those who was wounded physically, and he told us that he's okay physically, totally recovered. But it is that long-term dealing with the head trauma, the mental health, if you will.
Yes.
Again, speaking to law enforcement, and that we approach things like, and they approach things like it is their job. As we look at that, they know they're doing their job, but on the other side of being involved in some traumatic event like that, again, what is the coping strategy here? And they're probably not thinking about how am I going to deal with my headspace after this, right?
Yes, in relation to coping strategies, they vary. I tell folks coping strategies are not one size fits all. Everyone is different, and we all know ourselves. We are all the experts on our own lives. So it's important to be able to know the things that help you, right, that are healthy coping skills that are effective in you being able to move on. When I say healthy, I mean those that don't cause you or anyone else any hurt, harm, or danger, right? So no binge drinking, no driving fast, or, excessive spending, things of that nature. We have to make sure that we're mindful of the things that work for us. And as it relates to that officer, I'm sure he's feeling exactly the way that a lot of folks are that were, of course, family members, friends of those that were impacted by that. So I just want to speak to him directly and tell him that I definitely hope that he is getting professional help. I definitely hope that he is being kind to himself and taking it one moment at a time when it comes to recovery, because that road can look different, right, for him. But it's important that as his supports in his life, right, remain to be there for him.
And you said they are.
Yeah, and
Yes.
to encourage him, right, and to let him know that they're there for him if he needs anything whatsoever. So if there's any help or assistance that we can able to provide for him, we're more than happy to do that too.
I mean, and that is the important part too, is a support system to keep you in check, to say you're off.
Yes.
by a little bit what's going on. If we don't have a support system,
Right.
and you rely on yourself, who checks yourself?
Exactly. So that's always one of those difficult questions, right? It's like, I get asked that, JD, what do I do if I don't have anyone, right? It's important to be able to make sure that you also seek community in one way or another, right? There are various groups out there that exist, right? Or even various organizations that it is that folks can be able to join to make sure that they are not alone in their fight, right? But it does take being mindful, right? Being mindful of what it is that you are thinking, how you are feeling, what is it that you are doing or how you're behaving, right, in order to check yourself, right?
Yeah.
So being able to make sure that you are incorporating, right, your own organic coping skills and things like that that are working for you. And if these things are no longer working, please make sure that you seek professional help. Look, we all may seem alone, but you're never alone, right? We have to take that step in order to make sure that we're seeking help.
I think what is appreciated coming up on Mental Health Awareness Month, it is that word, awareness, to
Yes.
be self-aware, and that conversation and those buzzwords that we keep mental health out of the stigma department now. And this has become normal to get professional help when necessary. And it's not, an aside against you or me that we are checking in with,
Yes.
with our head. But generational views of health, mental health struggles, or just keeping it in check, if you will. There seems to be different approaches. One very, forthtelling. I got everything. I'm just going to spill it out and air it out.
Right.
And there are older people that are a little bit more refrained and restricted. How do you bridge the gap? And is there things that we can take from both sides or both directions and generations that maybe we need to learn how to cope a little bit better?
Right. So we have to understand, right, in bridging the gap, that we have to understand how things were, right, and how it is that they are now. Also, mental health was not at the forefront of everyone's minds and experiences, let's just say 10 years ago. Right? It was very different. COVID changed everything for mental health. You started seeing mental health commercials, right, and things of that nature, advertisements. It was one of those things where we were forced to sit down, right, face ourselves, face the things that it is that have affected us, and said, hey, look, this is something that we need to address, both the older and the younger generation. So when it comes to awareness and bridging the gap, it's just that, right? Bringing awareness, education, having the conversations, right? Being able to engage in those things that does help to normalize this more, right? Because the old sayings and the old belief and stereotypes of mental health, or you're crazy, or I don't want to see a shrink, right, to be able to, in order to be able to get some help. These things are being knocked down every day, right? And folks are definitely taking opportunity to come out and make sure that they are seeking help. And this is something that remains to be important, that we continue, right, to make sure that we are putting the word out, communicating, sharing resources with each other, educating each other on the importance of making sure that we're taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. How about because I talked to another singer, Rachel Platten. She's a musician, a star. She's got a famous song out.
Right.
She also speaks to saying everything. She comes from a family that just speaks her truth at all times. And that's why she admits that she went through postpartum depression after having her children. And she's also had a very successful life.
Right.
It's like a juxtaposition between that success and a little bit of a depression despite your success.
Right.
That's kind of like a conflict within yourself. Are we fronting? What is that?
Right. So it's not even that. I would say that your level of socioeconomic status or celebrity, right, or how much money that it is that you have, or success, right, however it is that you define that, does not exempt you from being able to experience mental health related issues, right? We all are experiencing some kind of evolution within ourselves, but of course we all have problems, right, in one respect or another. Singers have families, right? Singers have children and friends and things that it is that they experience, both good and bad. So we have to make sure that we remember that everyone is human at the end of the day.
All right. Jaren, this has been a really great, enlightening, eye-opening conversation. I feel like we went through therapy this morning, right? It's been good, Carlene, huh?
It's been, after the heavy day we had yesterday, this is nice. It's it's a nice check-in.
Great.
And I mean, yeah, because I will speak to both of us sort of on the front line of watching. We had breaking news all day yesterday. And Carlene then was here from, we covered a fire, then we were watching the FSU, and then the bus crash.
Yeah.
And so how did you end your day?
I went home and I played video games because that's
your release.
That's my brain shut off. Kind of disconnect from, I don't say reality, but disconnect from the world.
Yeah,
and
you
then
need
this
that.
Is my time.
Yes.
to play Mario and get back with one. That's,
Right.
That's my, I guess, coping.
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
I
Good
love
for you.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
What do
love
the
that.
professionals do?
The same thing. Absolutely. And my wife and daughter can attest to that. That it's just about being able to unwind in a place that works for you. So guess what? Yep, I do the exact same thing, right?
Yes.
And take an opportunity to do other things as well, like be active and working out,
Yes.
right? And being mindful of what you eat, getting good sleep, right? Spending positive time with friends and family, right? Or even if you need to spend some of that good self-care time alone, right?
Right.
Going to your favorite store, maybe doing some window shopping, maybe doing a little bit of real shopping, but that's another issue. But
shopping
you know,
therapy.
taking an opportunity to travel as well. Weather's getting warmer, right? So a lot of folks are planning trips and things of that nature too. But look, everyone be kind when you see your spouse or your friend playing that game that day. You never know what it is that they experienced, and it may be their opportunity to be able to wind down. So it's important that you said that.
I like it. I like it. Very
love
good. I just sat in my cone of silence for a hot minute, maybe a hot 5, 10, 30 minutes, but that's how I deal with it a little bit.
Great.
Jaren, thank you so much. Anything else that we should know and walk away with all of these nuggets of mental health?
Gosh, I just want to remind everyone that we're all in it together. Like, we truly are in it together.
Right. I think,
you know?
it's that isolation and feeling alone that's really hurtful in some ways.
Because our minds and situations can trick us into believing that we're just in it by ourselves and we're just going through life having very, very unique problems and no one can relate. And that's not always true. There's always someone that can relate, and there's always someone that can help. So please make sure that you do just that, right? Get the help, right? Take care of yourselves and just remember that you're not alone.
Jaren Doby from Novant, clinical social worker. Thank you so much as we take on mental health. And it is so important to take care of that. So
Absolutely.
appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. That was good. We're going to clip that, put it on WCNC Plus for you to refer to. Some good tips and advice there as we approach the month of May. And really, although we call May Mental Health Awareness Month, every day should be mental health awareness. Check in with yourself, be good to yourself, and let loose. Play some Mario or
That's right.